You're listening to No Plot, Only Lore, a podcast about games and the tables we play them at. Your DMs tonight and every night are Josh and Chris. You can find us on all podcast platforms or check us out at noplotonlylore.com. If you like what you hear today, please rate and review the show and share it with everyone you've ever met.
Welcome back to No Plot, Only Lore. This week brought to you by you, maybe?
Here's hoping. We're going to suck some of those sweet extra dollar dues out of your pocket with the vacuum.
So many dollary dues. It is weirdly hard to get a Patreon going.
Yeah, I haven't even tried because I just kind of assume that all of my activity is valueless, so I don't attempt to get compensated for it. But yeah, when you told me the weird hurdles you had to jump through, especially if you want to have like more than one.
Yeah, well, like, okay, I'm not super concerned about having more than one. I was thinking when I was setting it up that I may get another one going for like a different creative project.
Right.
But like the biggest hurdle for me was actually PayPal.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
I think I've only interacted with PayPal like 2 times in my life, and they didn't deactivate my account. So I don't know what you did.
I don't know if it's just that my bank really hates PayPal or if there's something wrong with the way that I tried to set it up. But I set it up with a different bank and it worked just fine. But it took way too flipping long. Anyway, we have a Patreon now.
Yeah. I just find it very strange that like Patreon was started by a guy who's a creative working on a side project as a side project, and he won't let you get paid for your side project unless it's completely separate from you as a person.
Yeah, I think like some of the stuff that I've read suggests that running a properly run Patreon, and to be fair, ours is not. If you decide to throw money at us, there are exactly 0 benefits to this at the moment, unless you throw a ridiculous amount of money at us, in which case we'll figure something out. But like, if you run a properly run Patreon, it does take a lot of time and effort, because you got to have like the proper tiers set up, and there's like maintenance you've got to do, and like make sure that you're getting rewards out and like all of that stuff. So I kind of get where they wouldn't want to encourage you to have more than 1 or 2 of them.
Sure. But also people hire people to run that for them.
Oh, sure.
Like not every creative project is just me in my basement, right? Like
we can't because we don't have any money.
Not yet. That's what the Patreon's for.
Yeah.
Support our Patreon so that we can pay for someone to run our Patreon.
Yes. And then there will be perks, maybe, probably. Or something.
I mean, we talked about it a little bit a long time ago. I would be open to doing one weird bonus thing a month, whether it's like some sort of horrific actual play or like just me talking about new board game releases or some stupid thing like that. But one of these days, we will have a reason for you to give us $3. But
I mean, we could paywall you talking about games just because you're the funny one, and then people get the funny thing.
That's true, but I've given this 0 thought so far. Most of the time, when I wind up talking about games, it's just because you like shoehorned the topic into something we were going to talk about anyways, and you were like, okay. Talk about board games. I'm like, oh, and then I get to do my like special interest rant for like an hour.
Yeah, every once in a while, I just like I take the shackles off, and we don't talk about role playing games for a while because I know that I need to like the proper care and feeding of your Josh requires that you let him graze on the board games occasionally. Like that has to happen.
Yeah. Every once in a while, I have to be given a taste of freedom.
So funny stuff. We were talking about clowns.
We were. So I forget how we got to clowns anyways.
I shared a picture of clowns at a protest, and your response to that was that every clown that you've ever met is the worst, except these guys seem like they're probably pretty okay.
Yeah. So You said that you don't know any IRL clowns.
I have never, to my knowledge, spoken to a clown.
I don't know how this Venn diagram worked out, but because I was friends with people who got involved in swing dancing, it turns out several swing dancers were also clowns, and then they're also in the tabletop communities.
I totally understand that then, because like I was saying earlier, I think that there is a lot of like dance in clowning. Like I have a lot of respect for the art of clowning, kind of separate from anything involving the funny bits. Right. Like I do have an appreciation for like the physicality and like the storytelling that comes out of that physicality. So like I kind of get where that's coming from. And if they're in the swing dance thing, then I think there's a lot of parallels there. And the Venn diagram between swing people and nerds is just a fucking circle.
Oh, like the swing. If you want to start a swing dance club, just go to the engineering department at your local college.
Yes.
I will say, having like met and interacted with these clowns a lot, I have no respect for their art form.
Okay.
Like,
did they just like pratfall at you and like squeeze a flower full of water at your face, or
I would have taken that better. Honestly, they were so like pretentious about the idea of clowning and what it means to play, and like I, being a big theater nerd in like junior high and high school, you dip into things like commedia dell'arte and things like just like mime and the concept of clowning in general, and you explore towards like, especially if you come from like a comedic background, as you go into like improvisation and stuff, you start exploring like physicality in general in
right
on the stage. And you talked about like the idea of like just, you know, what it means to like make people giggle and laugh and your end goal a bit. And I feel like clowning has lost sight of the end goal, where like it's become such an echo chamber and like just, you know, fart sniffing fest of people who like they become so like protective and obsessed with the process that they lose sight of the results, right? And
so it's very much just like the Paris school of clowning, taking movement too seriously for the sake of movement, and like pratfalls for the sake of the pratfall rather than the giggle that it is meant to evoke.
Right. Like, we're talking about an art that like very, very seriously is like, well, you need to go trademark and register your face at the School of Clowning in Paris. How do we do that? We paint it on an egg. Like, okay. Cool. First of all, the idea that you would need to like trademark your clown face is so mind-bogglingly stupid. Like,
I wonder, do you think the Insane Clown Posse has eggs?
You know, I hadn't thought about that, and I don't think they do. I don't think they've submitted, but I think they would be accepted.
I don't know if they count as clowns in that sense.
Okay, but I also don't know if there's anyone in Paris being like, sorry, can you show me your master's degree in clowning? Like, I feel like it's all self-reported.
Oh, that's probably true. Like, I think that if you show up in clown makeup and you have entertained a large enough group of people, they probably just kind of have to take you.
I don't know about the second part, because I don't know if you can get a crowd.
Yeah?
I think you just show up and be like, I'm starting my career. This is my unique face. Whatever. You know what? I'm going to look this up.
God, I wonder how many clowns currently are inspired by the Joaquin Phoenix Joker movie.
Oh, no.
Right? Anyway, this isn't what we're talking about. We're talking about ha-has at the table.
Right.
So yeah, we got into it from clowning, the idea of ha-has, and I realized that we haven't actually talked about this before, and it's just like the fact that every table is a round of comedians.
Right. Well, sorry, it's a round of aspiring comedians.
Well, there's that. I don't know where the quote originated from, but there was a quote that was running around for a while that like every game starts as Game of Thrones and ends as Monty Python.
Oh, yeah, it was. I think it was they all start as Lord of the Rings or something like that.
Is it Lord of the Rings? Okay,
something like that. Yeah.
So they all start like funeral serious attempts. Well, not all of them, but like a lot of them start as like funeral serious attempts to recreate fantasy stories, and then the Benny Hill theme starts playing, and your characters go off the fucking rails and do the wacky for a while.
Yeah.
And I think that's an interesting phenomenon. Because there are factors to it. This is going to be an incredibly unfunny discussion about
being funny. Yeah.
I feel. Yeah, like I'm going to get kind of heady with it. But I think that there's like a few things that happen within gaming and within the shared imagined space that push towards that particular type of humor, right? Like the quoting of Monty Python and the Holy Grail is not just an attempt to be funny, and in my experience rarely actually is funny.
Yeah.
But it's like a cultural cue.
Yeah.
Right? It's letting people know that you're in the in-group. You know the right things to say at the right time.
Yeah. We have common cultural touchstones. Don't worry, I'm safe.
Right? Like, your character takes a whole lot of points of damage, and you throw down with "'Tis but a flesh wound," and everybody knows you're the right people.
Right.
And I don't actually know how funny most people find that stuff, I guess.
So, here's what I have noticed. There's definitely a specific band of person that finds it hilarious, right? And I hate those people. I don't know. I don't know if I've always been this sort of cynical, but like I really dislike like nostalgia and referential humor, or just like this thing we all know, haha.
Right.
But there's
very much like the Member Berries style of funny.
But there is a fairly large band of people that are just like that their response is, "Oh, you said a thing that reminds me of a time when that was funny in context, so I will laugh at it."
Right.
Okay. The only time I've found like repetition of joke lines from media like amusing at all is like immediately in the aftermath of consuming that media. Like, okay, as an example, after I walked out of Tropic Thunder for the first time, like,
oh no,
talking to my friends about some of the bonkers lines in that movie, and then it's sort of like a cow chewing its cud, but just like ruminating on the lines in those scenes, you find funnier and funnier lines that you didn't catch on the first pass because you were laughing at the line before it. Right? I think that's great, but then like coming back like a year later and being like, I'm just a dude playing a dude disguised as another dude. Like, it's just not a thing. But nerds do it all the time.
I feel like there's a couple of different levels to it, though, right? Like, there's definitely the right after I saw it, like, enjoying the vibe quoting, right? And I don't think that there's a higher compliment that you can pay to a piece of media than like coming out of that thing quoting stuff that was either funny or badass.
Right.
But there are like, if there is a scene happening that involves two very serious characters getting married and somebody busts out a marriage,
Right.
I giggle.
Right. Well, and
There are some that have like proper holding strength.
so I think what it comes down to is the release of tension. Whether it's like
okay.
Whether it's actually like a intense or scary moment, there's only so much seriousness for an extended period of time that most people can take. And so making a joke, even if it's just like a dumb reference to something, is enough to do that tension breaking, like, comedic sigh of relief in the room where it's just like, oh, it's okay. Like I have needed a release for this energy, and laughter is a great release for that energy. So getting that opportunity handed to me, is perfect, right? Like, I'm going to laugh at it just because I need to laugh in that moment. Not because what he said is super funny, but again, it reminded me of a funny time, and this moment needed levity because we had our noses too high in the air for too long, and we just need to come back down to earth for a second. So, whether it's in the middle of an important diplomatic session, just giving him my wife, like it's...
I think you may have actually just hit on something that I really desperately hate about some of the more recent Marvel movies, where like they've taken that idea and made it incredibly formulaic.
Yeah. You know exactly when they're going to cut the tension with a stupid joke.
Yeah, and I just want them to live in that tension for a little while longer,
right? Or
just not undercut it at all sometimes. Well, and maybe that's part of the reason that we're having like a serious discussion about this in the first place is because I do think that like the natural push, right? Like the urge for most tables is to become, accidentally or otherwise, improv comedy theater.
Right. So I think there's two things I want to touch on with that idea, especially within the Marvel universe, is that one, that the cutting of the tension is a role that, like, for a long time was relegated to the clown of the group. And it was the clown's job to do that. And they did it every time. And I don't know if it's like, I'm going to blame Joss Whedon. I don't know if it's his fault, but it seems like what's happened is now every character does that. So you don't get to have serious characters. Everyone's quippy. Everyone's jokey. Everyone's funny. And so it comes down to like timing. How long can we let people be uncomfortable for? Oh, it's only going to be a total of 4 minutes. And then somebody needs to make a snarky joke, whether or not that's appropriate for their character or not. Like,
well, I mean, like, Bruce Banner is a great example of a character who should just not be funny.
Right.
Like, I want him to be borderline scary all the time.
Yeah.
Right. Like, I think that, like, speaking of Joss Whedon, the first Avengers movie was such a great utilization of Thor. Of the Hulk.
Yeah.
Right. Where he was a horror monster.
Yeah.
Essentially. Right. And through the whole thing, everybody is incredibly scared of this like meek little guy because like when he slams his fist on a table, you have to pull out your guns because you're probably about to die.
Yeah.
Right. Like that was perfect. And then to make him kind of a funny dude.
Yeah.
In the third Thor movie.
Yeah.
Really pulls away from like who that character can be dramatically.
Yeah. Like I'm glad you brought that example up specifically because, like, even though there was, like, a slight sad smile to his face, like, when he turned to the group and like, told them, like, that's, like, you don't understand, I'm always angry, like, the weight of the Hulk on Bruce was, like, that's the moment where you're like, oh shit, like this is not something he wants in his life. And then, playing with it later where like Loki is trying to like draw out the Hulk and convince him to like, be the main essentially villain because of his freakish uncontrolled strength and stuff like that. Like, you're right, he is a monster. And then I understand why they went with the I forget what the original comic run was called. It wasn't World War Hulk, but something like that. I get why they wanted to do that. Planet Hulk, that was the one. Planet Hulk. I get why they wanted to do that, but I think Taika was the wrong choice for that storyline. Because again, he is also a guy who, in his snarky New Zealand way, makes every character a clown. I mean, watch... Like, have you seen the original What We Do in the Shadows?
I can't.
Okay.
It does cringe humor, and I don't know if we've touched on this on the pod before, but cringe humor hits me in a deep and personal way, where if things are cringy, I have to, like, get up and take a lap with my hands over my head, breathing deeply, because I am personally embarrassed that the thing is happening in front of me. So I
understand.
Nope.
Like, I can't watch more than 5 minutes of I Think You Should Leave at a time, because I get like a tingle in my taint. That's how uncomfortable I am with what's happening in front of me. But for some reason, when the New Zealanders do it, whether it's Flight of the Conchords or What We Do in the Shadows or some of these other shows, somehow it's more tolerable. But that movie, like, literally every single character has funniness to them. Like, even the, like, straight-laced man that's supposed to be, like, the viewer's perspective gets to drop funny lines. Like, like something as dumb as, like, we're werewolves, not swearwolves. Like... Literally everybody gets a line, right?
I feel
and
like
so he does that. He did that to Hulk now. Like, now Hulk is a joke, and the girl who's got a drinking problem and is supposed to be this like washed up Valkyrie is a joke, and the rebels who are just like trying to find a new homeland and have been stuck in gladiator combat for who knows how long are also just making jokes. They are either the direct source of a joke or the butt of a joke, in a way that they get to interact with every single time. Like, no one there is for serious,
Yeah. Well, and I think that, like, no, I think you really nailed that. Bits.
Yeah. So, bits I find to be like something that is almost unavoidable in a certain way. If the group has enough chemistry, like, off the table, they're going to, like, fondly remember things that have happened and bring them up over and over. Right?
Yeah. Well, and I think it's interesting because, like, a bit doesn't have to be funny.
Right.
Right. Like, there are bits that you will occasionally see where people will, like, bring something up and it'll come back and they'll have like catchphrases and stuff, and sometimes they'll be funny and sometimes they aren't. I kind of think of them as like a social currency,
right
in a way. Like, you can just kind of cash your bit in for some affection or attention occasionally and just be like, hey, here's that thing again, and that'll either get a laugh or a groan, or the dungeon master will pack up their books and like hang their head in shame for a while at the activity that they have spent so much time putting together. But yeah, I think bits not only unavoidable, but I do think that they're important.
I think they, frankly, and this is going to sound odd, but I think bits are a important part of like character embodiment and character development. people have idiosyncrasies or bad habits or whatever it is. And so, like, knowing enough about your character and liking your character enough to repeat their stupid thing, like, I've seen it happen, you know, oh, here's a thing that happens, and then I just, like, throw back to it multiple times in the same session. But to go back to it again and again over the course of 6 months, a year, what have you, it's like, oh, I'm long-term living with this character in my head or in my, you know, my thoughts.
Right.
And I've developed an affection for their gimmicks or the weirdness, right? And I think it also...
Well, I think it's a little bit self-regulating too, right?
Sure.
Like if a bit is good, it's going to stick around.
Yeah.
Right? Like if the bit cashes in and you get the laugh, then somebody's going to do it again, and it'll get a laugh again, or it won't.
Yeah.
Right? And if the bits are good enough, I've actually seen some that like transcend that table.
Yeah.
Right? Like you'll start using those bits on other tables in other games, and they'll still have the same kind of cachet. So yeah. I think,
and there's like a fine line between like bit and like actual character detail, but like there's a recurring bit at our table that's just like, this character is a very thinly veiled copy of Gwyneth Paltrow in her like peak goopiness. So like like the recurring bit will just be like this weird snake oil salesman will sort of come out of the druid, where it's just like, oh, this could be a abusable health product, whatever we happen to find.
Yeah. No, and that's good, right? Like it creates continuity.
Yeah.
In a way that other things kind of can't, because they're easy to remember, right? Like especially in an improvised art form like role playing is, you kind of need those callbacks.
Yeah.
You need to be able to like easily pull in a thing to enforce that continuity and like remind yourself and your audience, who are your other players, unless you're doing actual play, that there is like a continuity of character that's happening here. So like, remember that thing, doing the memberberry thing within this context of the same game helps to build that and make it feel like there's a plot, even though there isn't. It's only lore.
Yeah. Okay. All right. I will say, like, one thing to really watch out for there, you cannot force a bit. Like, you can try,
no,
but you need to be very cognizant of like, just because you do a thing over and over and try to make it happen doesn't mean it's like, for what I see all the time is, and I'm going to pick on like a class specifically, but so many rogues try to force a bit that just isn't happening. It doesn't get a laugh. It doesn't work. It doesn't like play well in the room, but boy, howdy, are they going to keep trying to play this idea that like, no, my rogue actually tries to pickpocket like every single person they walk by. That's my bit. I'm just stealing things constantly. And it's like, yeah, this is like your 6th failed pickpocket attempt, and we have to fight the guards again.
Well, and I think like that's part of the whole like self-regulating economy of the thing, right? Like, as much as I think that it's played out now, for a very long time, the horny bard was a bit that I think transcended tables, transcended games, transcended like genres even, right? Like everybody was aware of the idea of the horny bard is going to fuck the dragon. Right. And at this point, I think it's oversaturated. Like I think that if you bring a horny bard to a table, it is going to elicit nothing but groans.
Yeah, it feels like the default has become every bard is horny, which is just like such a waste of that character class. I played what may have been the only horny bard or the only non-horny bard in any D&D game I've ever been involved with.
I think at this point it would be funnier to play an asexual bard.
Yeah. Just dripping in charisma. People are like magnetic to him. Doesn't notice any of it.
Or like notices it, but is like mildly repulsed. Like, I'm sorry, you want to do what? Thanks, but no.
Yeah, well, like with the character I'm playing right now, I took the idea of charisma as like like the idea is like charisma can like use some sort of facet of your personality to influence people around you, right? And I went the opposite of like attraction with it. He's super high charisma. He influences lots of things because he's so goddamn annoying. You just will literally give in to anything to get him away from you, right? Like, please stop talking to me. Please stop just being this irritating little, coffee phlegmy old man who's just kind of like,
Okay, in my head, I immediately went to a Gilbert Gottfried place.
Yeah,
okay.
Because he's also Jewish.
Good.
So, like...
Okay.
Yeah, it's...
That wasn't the connection I was making. I just tried to imagine, like, the most annoying character that I could, and I went to Iago.
Yeah.
Yeah. How do you feel about, like, stealing bits from actual play?
I don't... Like, personally, I don't want to do it. Because it's been done. I'm always looking for my own thing, but again, unavoidable. Most people are not that funny and not that creative. So this goes back to the referential thing from the start, where they see something, they're like, haha, that's good, that's great. They want to take it and do it or try it. This would be a lot safer to do if the internet wasn't the internet, and like every time someone on a Dimension 20 show came up with a cool bit, it didn't get repeated through every table through the next 2 months. And everyone saw it, right? Like, it's, like, these actual plays have become frighteningly parasocial. And I understand that there is a level of warmth and comfort by trying to do whatever it is that Lou did this week. But the reason that you love, all of these professional improvisers is because they are unabashedly themselves. And they bring facets of their own personalities to these characters. And you will not succeed in these endeavors by trying to be anyone but yourself to the maximum. So I think that's the real lesson, is trying to like maximize your individuality, which definitely does not mean just steal whatever bit Brennan Lee Mulligan put on his podcast this week.
Yeah. I don't know. I think there's two facets to it for me, where like on one side, I do think that cribbing from the professionals does help some tables align tone. Right? Like in very much the same vein of like, if somebody makes the Monty Python quote, if somebody else makes the like Princess Bride quote, you have an idea of who you're playing with and what references they're going to get and what they're not.
Right.
Right. And if somebody makes a comment about like Scanlan Hand that other people at the table don't get, then you're able to adjust your tone and like figure out which references you're supposed to be like looking for the table culture a bit.
Yeah.
My concern with it is always more like, whose table are you playing at?
Right.
And how?
Yeah.
Because like the people who are doing these actual plays aren't just playing for the audience of their own table.
Right.
They're also playing for the audience of you.
Yeah.
Right? So the bits that they're coming up with, the jokes that they're telling, have to land on a couple of different levels.
Yeah.
Right. Like they have to land on the table level. You have to get the laugh from your colleagues for that immediate feedback. And then they also have to land for the audience at large, or you're going to get panned.
Yeah.
Or like they'll just cut the joke out because that's how media works.
Yeah.
So like we don't see a lot of the failed bits or jokes that happen in these shows. But like we're not doing that.
No.
When we're playing. It's just us and the other people at the table. And so like there isn't a turn to camera moment that you can do of just like,
Right.
You get that like D20 reference I threw in there. Yeah, pretty funny, right?
Yeah.
Like, so that's kind of the concern that I have there. And like, I have in the notes that there's like a a comedy canon that you're able to put together. But I think that comes not just from the parasocial quoting, but like the canon of your table is going to be like all the references that people get.
I guess my biggest issue with these, the references to other better role players is that, well, I feel like there's been a breakdown in the fabric of what it means to participate in role-playing games or be a role player.
Right.
D&D, the experience that I had with it that really hooked me on the game was so far and away from what these actual play kind of people are doing that like it feels like we're playing two completely different games.
Right.
There's a level of like mugging and like, I guess I understand there's improv comedy, but there's a level of like weird performance that like everyone does now, and constantly getting clips served up to you from the latest podcast does not help with that at all. And so like I am loath to bring up what happens on one of these shows at the table. I'll chat about it with someone independently, like, wow, that was really entertaining, but I have to keep it at a distance like any other piece of media. Like I talk about it like an episode of Reacher or whatever it is that I happen to watch that week. Like that's the way I would feel. And I'm not someone who regularly consumes these programs, so I also like don't have this like I don't ever get to watch those bits happen in context. I just get them shoved at me on YouTube Shorts, right? And so and
they're not great.
No,
right? Like the being divorced from the rest of the thing, you're not invested. You don't actually know what's going on. The like build up isn't necessarily there in a short that it would be in the context of the actual game. I do wonder like how much of that is just the popularity of those shows now, because like I was playing when Game of Thrones came out, and things got real serious around tables for a while.
Oh, yeah, that's because every DM was like, oh, I can just, like, murder people and have, like, weird sex dungeons? Perfect.
Yeah, I can finally merge my normal dungeon and my sex dungeon into the same dungeon. Hooray.
Whole new definition of Dungeons and Dragons.
But, like, there was it goes back to the zeitgeist.
Yeah.
Right? It goes back to the idea of, like, what is popular in the pop culture right now?
Yeah.
And what are we attempting to emulate at the tables that we're playing at?
Yeah.
And I think that one of the big things that we're seeing is a lot of these, like, funny, fun, personable, charismatic actors playing D&D are having a big influence on the way that we play and the way that we joke.
Yeah.
And not necessarily in a direction that is conducive to your table at home.
Well, yeah, and they've turned these large exploratory sequences into something a lot more compartmentalized and on rails and scene driven in a way that doesn't happen at the average home table. So the way that humor plays out from, I know roughly the beats of this interaction, and I'm going to stick some jokes in there, to like the more natural, like, hey, I'm just like a person in this world, and I'm going to make a little quip to my friend. Like they're very different purposes of jokes in there. You have in the notes here talking about like aiming a joke and for where it needs to land, right? And
right.
There's a level of that just doesn't happen in like, I don't want to say like, okay, I hate to call it like actual humor, but like the kind of thing I would do to lighten the mood with a friend versus like trying to get a laugh. Right? Like
you're not mugging to an audience, you're just like ribbing a friend.
Yeah. Yeah. Or just like calling back to shared experiences, like you said, in a way that's like less about being as funny as possible and earning a laugh, and more about like strengthening the relationship or reinforcing, the bond.
I have just had what may be the best worst character idea. Okay, so going back to our asexual bard, he's going to be from the school of clowning.
Oh, don't you? No!
And just a pretentious fucking ass about it the whole time.
But insanely high charisma, so every time he puts on a performance, you're like, oh my god, I've seen God.
Hey, thanks for making it all the way through this episode of No Plot, Only Lore. If you're looking for more, you can always find us at noplotonlylore.com and on all the very best podcast platforms. If you like what you heard today, please share, rate, and review the show to feed my never-ending need for attention and validation.